would you like to count us down?
And 5, 4, 3, 2.
Can you hear it?
Yeah. Oh, that scene.
The only clip I found was one that was recorded in the movie theater.
Somebody said they cried during this scene. Like, what the heck? They're just singing.
Let's go, Steven.
Apparently, every song you choose, I don't know the words to. Or I can't hit the note. But this one I don't know the words to.
The Kid Cudi on the guitar.
The talent.
Here we go, Steven. Let's go. Time makes you older. I'm getting older too.
Oh, that's why they chose that song.
Yeah, much. All right. About to tear up over here. The top comment on this video says, I've never seen a slasher movie that actually made me tear up.
Yeah.
Apparently multiple people are crying over that scene. Right. Welcome to episode 60 of Santa Mira After Dark. Jeremy.
I'm Steven.
What are we discussing today, Steven?
We're discussing the A24 slasher X.
Directed by Ty West, who is he's also directed The Sacrament, which is another very good horror film. We mentioned that briefly in episode 2 of our podcast.
Did I see The Sacrament?
It's that one where it's like a suicide cult.
I did see The Sacrament. I don't know why I always forget what that movie's called.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. He kind of like disappeared off the face of the earth over the past 5 years, but somehow found his way into A24 company and decided to make a slasher movie for some reason. But
I'm here for it.
We're very glad they did. X stars Jenna Ortega, who's having a phenomenal year.
Yes, third movie I've seen her in already.
She was in Scream, The Fallout. She's in that Foo Fighters movie. I haven't seen that yet, but I did see The Fallout.
a small role, but still.
She's a prominent role in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Also stars Brittany Snow, who is also phenomenal in this movie.
Love her.
Kid Cudi as Jackson Hole.
Love him.
And I'll be saying his name a lot just because it's a great name, Jackson Hole.
Jackson Hole.
And Mia Goth, who is doing a double duty, which I not realized until the second time I saw the movie that she was playing old lady.
Yeah.
Because I saw on Letterboxd that old lady did not have a character, and the character of Pearl did. Pearl was listed with Mia Goth,
and we knew Pearl was. Yeah.
I thought it was from that like twist reveal at the end of the credits where they teased a prequel that I guess they already filmed, and it's to be released soon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I
I
guess
hope it
Ty
comes out
West.
in the summer.
Yeah. Um, they should have they should have swapped release dates with maybe the Green Knight or something, because this is definitely a summer feel.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like nods to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Psycho, and I've seen people say that this is a Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets Boogie Nights. Which, uh, yeah, that's pretty much a good a good comparison, I think. Um, I've seen people compare it to The Visit as well,
Yeah.
the old grandparents, so have those vibes in it as well.
That's what The Visit could have been.
Um, yeah, the Visit is good for one time viewing, and then after that, not nearly as well as I remember it being in the theaters. Because that twist at the end, I remember the theater was like shook.
Yeah.
And then like once you see the twist and then you rewatch it at home, it's like, oh well, this is kind of stupid.
Like, oh yeah, that happened.
Um, yeah. So X is a very good slasher movie. I'm glad that slashers are seem to be making a comeback. Um, my wife tried to explain this movie to her parents. She's like, "Oh, me and Jeremy and Steven went to see X last night," and they were like, "Oh, what's that?" And the way she described it, probably the worst way you could possibly describe this movie, because she said that it's about this group of porn stars that go to this like bed and breakfast or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they're filming a porno called The Farmer's Daughter, The Farmer's Daughters. And like I'm listening to her describe this, and it's like there's like 30 ways you could describe this movie and not mention that that they're
It's a
filming.
porn.
That was like all she said was like that was the main focus of the movie, was that they're going to film this porno called The Farmer's Daughters, and the old people kill them.
Mm.
And it's like what, like, say that it's about this old couple that are killing young adults. And there you go.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much.
I did find out that The Farmer's Daughter is actually a real movie.
Mm.
That I've seen it or anything, but it's from 1976, and it's apparently because I guess the character Wayne is like, or no, sorry, the character RJ is the director of this movie, The Farmer's Daughters, and for some reason he thinks that he can make very cinematic porn, and I guess the Farmer's Daughters is not as cinematic as RJ thinks it is. So
Yeah, it's supposed to be like high class.
yeah, but, so I mean, what did you think of like the like kind of commentary on the movie where there's like this old conservative couple meeting these like young, like I don't know if they're liberals or not, but they're like young and free, I guess. What do you think of that dynamic?
Pretty and Young. Oh, I think that's a song. Now I'm about to look that up. I like the dynamic between the two.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, and like the song we played, the Fleetwood Mac song, like I guess I didn't realize until I saw it the second time that they put that song in there because it kind of like talks about growing older and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and this older couple, Howard and Pearl. they seem to be jealous of young people who show up to film a porno.
Yeah, the
Um,
movie's like some type of kind of like a commentary on age.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could start going through the plot. I had the privilege of seeing this twice. You did not, so you didn't get the opportunity to take notes, but we'll try.
I saw it a couple weeks ago, so we'll see.
Hopefully, as I mention things start clicking. But I will say it is nice to kind of be doing a shorter film and not like
I have IMDb to guide me.
it's nice that we're not doing like a complex Oscar contender like we've been doing the past couple weeks. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So I had dreams about Dune last night.
yeah, if I like how we did the Oscar predictions last week, and there's no way we could have predicted that Will Smith would have slapped Rock.
Yeah, I know. Some predictions came true, and some wishes came true, and some did not.
Yeah, I mean, Coda was like a shoe-in to win, I think, even though
Yeah.
this is only the fourth time that a movie has won 6 awards and the director did not win Best Director. Because Dune won 6 awards and Denis Villeneuve was not even nominated for Best Director. It's the fourth time that's happened where the director did not win Best Director. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story for a different day.
Yeah, at least it won 6 awards, as it deserved.
Mm-hmm. So X starts off very similar to The Strangers, because shows like the aftermath of this like event that occurred. Like there's the police show up and there's dead bodies everywhere. Although I think in The Strangers the police don't show up and it's just a couple children.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless,
the children find the carnage. But yeah.
Yeah, but there's a like a pastor on the TV who shows up in this movie multiple times. It's like everybody in the world is watching this pastor at all times. I mean, I don't know if that's what they do in Texas. I know Texas is kind of bizarre and weird, but are they watching are they watching pastors all day?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe back then, but I feel like it's relatively normal nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're going through this crime scene to show the aftermath and do this like generic like, hey, sheriff, you need to come see this. Then they come downstairs and it's like, oh, my God. And it just cuts and go to 24 hours earlier. So is strange. Not strange. It's just funny that like the events of this movie, because there is a lot that happens. It's just funny that it all takes place within 24 hours.
Yeah.
You meet Maxine, who's played by Mia Goth, like we said. This is the first of her 2 roles in this film. She's doing cocaine, and we meet her boyfriend Wayne. And Maxine kind of has this character where she's very, I guess, independent, because she's like constantly telling herself like I forget her exact words, but she's like, I won't accept a life I don't deserve, or something like that.
She's a star.
Yeah. She like hypes herself up and is like, which we find out at the end, like why this is a prominent character trait of her, where she constantly has to tell herself that she's a star and build this confidence. We meet her boyfriend, Wayne, played by Martin Henderson, who I want to say one of my favorite characters, but like everyone in this movie is like one of my favorite characters because I don't
He's
know,
funny.
everyone's so different. They like mesh well together,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like even the unlikable characters who do unlikable things. It's like yeah, they're still pretty cool and funny.
Yeah.
Um, but Wayne is like he's like I guess he's like the head of a pornography company or something, and
I guess so.
they're filming a porno with pretty much everybody involved is a part of this porno. So Wayne is like the director, I guess. RJ is the cameraman slash director. Um, Jackson Hole is the is the star,
The other star.
and Lorraine Maxine and Bobby Lynn are farmers' daughters.
Lorraine was the last minute daughter.
Yeah, that scene's actually tragic, and like I actually feel bad for RJ in that scene, but we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, they're going on a road trip, I guess, and they're spending the night at um this weird farm or whatever. So they're passing around scripts called "The Farmer's Daughters," and um, I guess they're talking about how Wayne is like this is what's gonna make Wayne a successful writer or whatever. And someone, I think it's Bobby Lynn who has the line where she says like his topless car wash didn't take off, and he's like it would have if the IRS didn't have a vendetta against me. um, it,
I didn't even remember that.
I didn't notice it either until the second time I watched it, but it's like lines like that that just build the backstory for these characters. Um, so they go to this weird gas station, and Maxine and Wayne are inside, and Maxine's telling him like, "I want to be a star, and I need to be famous, and all this stuff." And Wayne tells her that she has the X Factor, so kind of hyping
Mm-hmm.
her up a little bit. But we get the vibe that for some reason these girls do not like Lorraine, who is Jay's girlfriend, played by Jenna Ortega, because she's
Yeah.
kind of like
Nice.
yes,
Well, quiet.
yeah, she's like quiet and shy and like doesn't quite understand why she's here, which I don't even really understand why RJ brought her along anyway. But
I guess to help with the footage.
yeah, but it is it's funny because she's like holding the microphone, and you could actually like catch her like taking glimpses at what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they don't like her, and they're filming a scene with Jackson Hole filling filling his gas tank, and this is where RJ goes on about how he's making a professional film that's apparently inspired by many French films, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Bobby Lynn has this line where she's like, you should shoot it from up top so it looks like he's using his cock." And so, yeah,
You know, cinematic effect.
it's like he's filling the gas tank, but it looks like it's coming from his crotch.
Yeah.
He's like moaning and making these weird faces. Um,
So
and,
then
and
we saw in, well, not to that effect, but remember they did that in Licorice Pizza when they were filling up the car.
oh yeah, when they're like Yeah, they're playing with the gas cans.
But
And
they were just joking around, not filming that.
I thought you were going to say that you make a different face when you fill the gas tank with today's gas prices.
Well, yeah, I do.
But yeah, and there's another shot of this preacher on the TV that like I don't know if we should just spill it now because it does kind of come full circle at the end.
Yeah, might as well go for it.
So Maxine is the daughter of this pastor on TV, and apparently she on TV he's saying this is my daughter Maxine and she's living a life of sin, and I guess she like ran away from her family from this weird like church setting,
Church
I
cult.
guess. Yeah. I don't really establish that it's a cult. I'm not sure what religion it is, but
It's bad because it feels like a cult, even though it's just like Christianity.
yeah, because I mean I don't want to get religious on here, but
Yeah.
there are like people that take Christianity so seriously to the point where it's like, oh, can't I don't know. You pretty much have to follow the Ten Commandments to a T. And
Yeah.
so,
Which
I
is
guess
actually pretty much impossible for humans to do.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't want to get religious, but I feel like the Ten Commandments and stuff seem very similar to the story of Santa Claus, where it's like you just need to make up this big story to keep kids from misbehaving.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, adults, we need to have this big story about Jesus because we need to keep adults behaving. But anyway, moving on. So, so yeah, Maxine is the daughter of this this pastor that's on TV, and she ran away from the church to be a porn star, which is kind of why she's like constantly reassuring herself that like this is what she wants to do, and she needs to be a star because she needs to kind of make it seem like it was worth it for her to run away from her family, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So they're driving on the road. I guess a semi truck has totally mutilated a cow. Shout out to Zombies Halloween 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
I don't think that's a nod, but
It is here.
might as well be. Yeah, so pretty much nothing happens. Like that, this whole, not talking about Jackson, but this whole story kind of reminds me of. It took you a second to get it. It kind of reminds me of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre once again because
Mm-hmm.
it's like just gathering in a RV and traveling through Texas. I saw someone call this the Texas Porno Massacre.
I like it.
Yeah. So they arrive at what they call the studio, which is just this weird, like, crappy and rundown house, I guess, is where they're staying.
Yeah.
And Bobby Lynn has this line where she says, "Thank goodness, I'm horny." So I'm not sure if this is like a. Is it technically a bed and breakfast? Is that what it is?
Or like an Airbnb.
Yeah, because it's like they live in a different house. Like the old couple lives in the main house, and then they have like this side house that has different bedrooms and everything, and they just rent it out. So they arrive to the house, and Wayne goes to talk to Howard, who is the old man who runs this place. And while he's doing that, Lorraine has this line where she's saying that she's uncomfortable about this whole thing, and uh, very similar to the questions we had. Like she's like, why the heck am I even here?
Yeah. We were gonna ask her
And
the same thing.
and RJ pretty much has this line where he says that they're making a like a professional dirty movie, and it is possible to make a good and professional dirty movie. Um, Meanwhile, I'm not
But
sure if. Go ahead.
gotta love when your porn has a plot to it.
Yeah. um. Yeah. So I'm not sure if Howard has like Alzheimer's or something or dementia. They kind of hint at that a couple times, but they don't actually come out and like say anything.
I think he was putting on a show.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
think he actually had it.
okay, because what happens is realizes Wayne is at the front door, and he pulls a gun because this is Texas, and I guess you can just do whatever heck you want down there. She's like, and he says like the law says I could shoot you for trespassing, and he like suddenly remembers like, oh, we're the one that I agreed to rent this bed and breakfast out to. Yeah, so they go to the house. Maxine sees like this strange woman who is Pearl, played by Mia Goth, like we said, watching her from the upstairs window, and it, they. So I was waiting for it, but they do this shot where it's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre shot where Sally's walking up to the house and they show her from behind.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for them to do it, and they do it with Wayne, where him and Howard are walking up to the to this like rundown house, and they show Wayne and Howard from behind, and it's similar to that classic shot from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Um, Wayne does seem uncomfortably happy about this house. He's like real excited and like hyping it up for some reason. And Howard pretty much says like, I don't remember you saying there'd be like 7 of you here.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes on to say, Howard asks Wayne if he was in the military, and Wayne says he has flat feet, which I'm not sure if that was like shot at like draft dodgers back in the day, or it's like if you were drafted,
Mm-hmm.
you just came up with an excuse that you had flat feet or something, and you couldn't be in the war.
I know I would do that.
But luckily Jackson Hole has served in the military, which kind of
Yes.
like soothes things over with Howard for the time being, because I guess he only respects men who were in the military. Find out
Jackson
that
saving the day.
yeah, Jackson served in Vietnam. I think they say Howard served in World War One and Two,
Mm.
which 1979, so that probably makes him like 80 something years old.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Jeez.
and Wayne does pay him some extra money for agreeing to keep all these people in his house to kind of soothe things over a little bit. When Howard leaves, Lorraine is like, he doesn't know what we're doing here, does he? And this is like the first time she actually like speaks out against the against
Okay.
Wayne and the group or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And Wayne has this line where he's like, "Oh, church mouse, you do speak." And he's like, "Yeah, they do know what's going on, but we're gonna, or I'm sorry, they don't know what's going on, and we're gonna keep it that way." And I'm not sure how they planned on keeping this a secret, because they live in the country and there's all this like screaming and moaning coming from the house.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
just
I don't know.
just expect to keep it quiet, I guess. But,
Or they expect them not to hear it.
yeah, I guess. But and this is where we get the first sex montage of the movie,
First,
where
a few.
yeah, Jackson Hole is going to town on Bobby Lynn,
Mm-hmm.
and we get we get RJ's uncomfortable commentary, where he's like, "I need more passion," and Jackson kind of is like, "You're the one with the camera. Stay in your lane and let me do the screwing." Um, and Maxine kind of goes off into that lake by herself. Um, there's this
Oh,
cool shot. Go
the
ahead.
alligator.
Yeah,
My favorite scene. Or one of them.
there's a cool shot of Pearl watching Maxine from like distance, like you see her standing in the woods in the background. Um, yeah, so it does kind of jump back and forth here, but what happens is Maxine is swimming in the lake, and I guess there's alligators here. Um, alligators are terrifying. One of
Yeah.
my one of my biggest fears is to be ripped apart by an alligator, and I don't think it's a very realistic fear, but it is because
Yeah, it could happen.
from what I've heard, alligators just like haven't evolved in like thousands of years because they're just perfect the way they are. So
Mm-hmm.
they're like a perfect predator, and yeah, they're just terrifying to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either.
Why you would not find me um, swimming in a random lake in the
Mm-mm.
country.
Never.
I think there's like an island somewhere where it's just filled with alligators as well. Um, yeah, I couldn't do it.
No,
I
not me.
think they like banned people from going there because alligators are just so prominent there. Like they're literally everywhere.
Jeez.
But yeah, so there's this cool shot of Maxine like floating in the lake, and then the alligator is like approaching her from, and it is shot from ahead, so you see this alligator like slowly approaching her, and then she's like, "Oh, I've had enough. Let me swim back." So she's swimming back. The alligator is still chasing her, and then she gets out of the water at the last minute, and the alligator does not get her. But yeah, it is a really cool shot, and
Almost
uh,
got it.
it kind of terrified me.
That's how I feel. Yeah, them and then the shark movies.
Mm-hmm.
Those particular type of movies.
I
I'm
mean,
not really afraid of them, but they give me anxiety.
I'm not really afraid of sharks because it's like,
Yeah,
where
I
would
wouldn't say I'm
I
afraid of them.
encounter a shark? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Because like if you happen to come across a shark,
Yeah,
then it's over. Same with
I
an
get
alligator.
anxious during those movies.
Mhm.
Same with Crawl. Even though the movie wasn't great, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I did not like that movie. But yeah. Anyway, we find out how impressed Wayne is with RJ's filming because he's he's like that was great, and we need more shots like that. Feel how hard my cock is. Then he just grabs Wayne's hand.
Mess.
Um, yeah. So where are we at now? Jackson seems to be really proud of himself after this scene, and he's like flexing by the window and like hyping himself up. And
Mhm.
then um Bobby Lynn kind of puts him in his place because she's like, "Oh, you weren't that good. I was putting on a performance. It's called acting." He's like, "You're good, but you're not that good." And then she proceeds to
She moans just like she did moments before.
it's almost like she was being screwed right then and there. um, yeah, so we see this part where we get a shot from the movie where I guess the whole plot of the farmer's daughters is that the Jackson Hole's van breaks down and he comes across this farm and their dad is not home and
Mm-hmm.
and I guess he just proceeds to bang the farmer's daughters over the course of the next however long this movie is. But
Yeah.
yeah, he
For
has
whatever reason.
yeah, this scene is hilarious. I remember me and you were cracking up in the theater where she's like, "Would you like to come inside?" Much obliged. Like it's a dog whining behind me. It's just so cheesy but so funny. Like
Yeah,
I love the way Kid Cudi delivers that line where
and it's the smile.
yeah, much obliged. And then it's like zooms in on his face and he's smiling and he walks in the house. Yeah, so Maxine is coming back from the lake and she sees Pearl watching her. I'm very curious to see how they filmed this scene because, like I said, the first time I saw this, I did not know that Mia Goth was doing double duty here.
Yeah.
She's playing both of these characters. Yeah, I'm just interested to see how they did that. But Maxine ends up calling, or no, Pearl ends up calling Maxine into the house, and they drink lemonade, I guess. And for some reason, it like cuts between this scene and the scene from The Farmer's Daughter, where Jackson and Bobby Lynn are drinking drinking lemonade. Like the cinematic parallels, I guess.
That's great.
Pearl has this line where she says that she's jealous of Maxine's age and her youth and her beauty and all that, and then she like caresses her.
She takes it steps further than needed to be taken.
Yeah, and yeah, it's very bizarre, but yeah, she's like, I gotta go, and then she just, gratefully so, she runs out of the house, and
Yeah.
there's a jump scare where Wayne grabs Maxine in the field, and he's like, "Where the hell were you? We're running out of daylight." And blah blah blah. We need to do this scene.
And that jump scare did get me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't usually like jump scares, but I'll forgive it for this one.
Yeah.
I guess there's definitely differences between jump scares. Like those Annabelle movies are just full of them. I think this movie only has this one, and there actually is a danger. So I mean, it kind of okay for this one. So
we'll allow it.
Yeah. So Pearl gets herself ready again, and she's like hyping herself up, like, I deserve this, and blah blah blah. And then they proceed to film a scene in the barn, and it's like Jackson has this, like, he says something like, I didn't know there was another one of you," and Maxine is like, her sister's always jealous of her because she's younger and prettier.
Yeah.
It's like, this is supposed to be a professional cinema experience, and this is the kind of dialogue that you're giving us. And
Awful.
and and Jackson is saying that like that his car broke down and whatever. She's like, I could give you a ride. And that's the type of porno that they're making here. Nothing cinematic about it.
No, not at all.
So then it cuts to Maxine giving Jackson Hole a ride, like she just said. But
Yep.
it's it's weird because Pearl is watching her from the window, so we get this like creepy scene of Pearl like creeping around the corner and looking in the window at her, and Maxine like turns around as if she's looking at Pearl.
Yeah.
And it like flips between Pearl's face and Maxine's face.
Like I thought she saw her, but she didn't.
Yeah, like that's where I thought they were going too. And it's like, oh, this weird old lady was watching us, and now there's an issue. But it's like they kind of
don't do that.
Yeah, it's like so she was looking at her, but then she didn't see her. I guess. I think that's what they do.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Pearl leaves the filming of this scene, and she goes into the house and like tries to make advances on Howard. And Howard is like, we talked about this, and my heart can't handle it, and I can't give you what you want, and blah blah blah. And
because they wanted a scene.
Yeah, she's like, they're filming a porno in the barn. Can we be in the next scene?
But he apparently couldn't handle it.
Yeah, so proceed to not do anything yet.
Yet, yeah.
I guess it's night now, and the group is sitting around talking, and Lorraine is like very curious about like this porno because, like I said, we do get glimpses of her like. I guess, I guess it's like a compliment to Jenna Ortega because she's kind of just showing with her face like, oh, this kind of looks interesting. I want Jackson to be in my hole.
I thought that she was looking at the women, but she wasn't.
I thought, I
thought they were going that route.
So I thought the same thing, and I guess this part kind of explains why I was thinking that, because Lorraine asks, she's like, is it weird to see your fiance getting her back blown out by Kid Cudi? And
pretty much.
And Wayne is like, says something like, when the cameras are on, everything changes. And then Bobby Lynn goes on to talk about how everyone loves sex, straight, gay, black, or white. Yeah, so I thought when she said like the straight gay line, I thought that she was kind of that they were kind of hinting that another scene was going down.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's like this wonderful musical montage that we played at the top of the podcast where Bobby Lynn sings "Landslide" by Fleetwood Mac.
And it further confirms my theory that each movie could use a musical moment.
Yeah. Every movie ever made, we just need to take a minute, breathe a little bit, and just
sing. Let some vocals come out.
I'm gonna make a Letterboxd list. Like, it's gonna be movies where the plot comes to a screeching halt for a brief musical performance.
Yeah, there's a lot out there.
Conjuring 2 is up there. I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there has to be a ton of them out there because
Yeah,
like even in the episodes we've done, it's definitely happened. But
every episode of Riverdale ever.
the plot comes to a screeching halt for someone to perform a song. But this one was actually good though because
Yeah,
just read the YouTube comments on that video and people
people are getting the emotions.
are shedding tears over this one. It,
Not even all
go
jokes
ahead.
aside, I didn't even think it could be emotional. But then you think of the movie, like the whole idea of age, and they were showing the older lady too while she was singing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of sad in a way.
yeah. I mean,
You don't know that she's a psycho at this moment. She's just an older lady, and she can't really do what
yeah,
she wants.
um, yeah. I didn't really catch that the first time I watched it. I just thought literally just threw in a random musical montage. But looking back, when because like the lyrics to the song do kind of match um, the tone of the movie in a way.
hmm
Um, so yeah, I mean it does work. I mean I'm not going to shed a tear over it or anything,
No,
but
I get the emotions though. It makes sense.
yeah. And some people handle their emotions differently. So who am I to?
Yeah,
If you want to shed a tear over A24's X, then who am I to judge? So, um, once the music ends, Lorraine says that she wants to be in a movie she wants to do a scene in the movie,
hmm
and the like the group is just like stunned, and RJ looks over and is like, "What?" um,
yeah. He was offended, but he made a comment earlier that I forget what he said.
he says it's just a movie or something.
Yeah, and she's like, "Well, if it's just a movie, why can't I be in it?"
Yeah,
He's looking for any excuse he could find. I'm like, "Oh, because we're already so far in, and it doesn't make sense to the plot."
I think that was a commentary on this movie as well.
Yeah,
Because like up till this point it's just like these people filming a porno and then like after this like, we don't even see any killing up until like an hour into the movie, so
yeah.
I think it was a commentary on this movie where because RJ is like we can't just change the plot halfway through and like
This
from here
movie literally does that.
yeah. And I even noticed there's a shot where Lorraine is taking her cross necklace off and it's like it's almost like once I mean this movie does not get supernatural, but it's like once she does that, it like opens up the floodgates uh for all this bad stuff to happen from here on out.
Yeah,
But yeah, and anyway, RJ is like we said, trying to come up with any excuse for her not to do it. And Wayne is like, well, I'm the producer or whatever his job is, I'm not even sure. And I should have a say in this too. So he takes RJ outside and it's pretty
his
funny.
saying it is basically like talking him into it.
Yeah, because he's like, you only got one of two options. Either you let her do this, or she goes to star in another movie and is with who knows who, you know.
Because Jackson Hole's a professional.
And yeah, because Wayne has this line where he says, um, "I see you only got one of two options," and RJ goes, "What? Let her get balled by some man whore?" And um, Wayne also gets offended because RJ is like, Lorraine's different. She's not like the other girls. She's nice.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, Wayne's fiance is literally balled by
and
this man whore.
yeah, she's literally in the movie.
But so I mean, I guess he does kind of get talked into it, even like against his better judgment, he
Mm-hmm.
agrees. He agrees to shoot her in the movie, and that's what's worse about it is that he has to film it.
Yeah,
And
and he does, but they do that part off screen.
yeah, um, yeah, this is like as classy as the movie gets because it sets this up like it's a very classy lovemaking scene. um, yeah, it's I guess this is what RJ was planning on doing because the other ones are like kind of trashy, and then
Yeah,
this one is like just kind of uh, not classy or anything, but it's definitely more so than the other ones.
yeah.
And then it just cuts to RJ taking a shower in the middle of the night crying.
Yeah,
You actually feel bad for him, but it is also like a very abrupt cut to him just crying in the shower. Um, and then he's like, "Screw
yeah.
you."
It's like
Oh, go ahead.
you can't help but laugh, but it's also like, oh, I shouldn't be laughing at that.
Right. Um, yeah. So he's like, he says something like, "Well, screw you guys. I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna leave, and then you guys are screwed without me." And he gets in the truck to leave, and
Which is a
don't
very, very terrible idea for everybody involved.
you mean because of what happens, or just like it's a bad
Like,
idea?
why would you leave your friends to go? Like, you leave your friends at this house, and then you're on your own in the middle of nowhere, and you probably don't know where you are.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree because there's no GPS or anything, but
Yeah,
I think he's just had enough where he's like, "Get me the heck out of here." And
yeah.
but yeah, so he gets in the truck to leave. Don't fear the Reaper is playing on the radio. Shout out to Halloween.
Hmm.
Um,
And that one might
and
actually be a nod,
yeah, um,
potentially.
yeah, there's definitely nods to like 60s and 70s horror in here. There's another one coming up that I'll mention when we get there, but um, as he's going to leave, Pearl is standing in the driveway blocking the exit, and it's another one of those things where if you see an old person wandering around, you just kind of have to assume it's like Alzheimer's or dementia or something.
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of what RJ's getting at. Like, this girl needs help, and he like kind of comforts her, and she proceeds to make a move on him. Is
Yes, she does.
I mean, it makes sense because Lorraine gets Jackson Hole, and then RJ gets Pearl.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, she goes to like kiss his neck or something, and thinks she like pulls her shirt open or something, and he's like not having it, and he's not interested. He's like, "Let's get you back to your husband," and she just stabs him in the neck. And this is our first kill of the movie. We're like
Very
an hour.
brutally too.
Mhm. We're like an hour into it. Um, it is one of my favorite shots from the movie. Probably my
Hmm.
favorite. But she's like stabbing him, and "Don't fear the Reaper" gets louder, and she's stabbing him, and the blood from the blood is getting on the headlights, so it's like turning everything red,
Yeah,
and Pearl is like lit up in this red light, and it just looks very cool.
yeah, I really
Um,
like that too.
mhm. She does this like bizarre dance in front of the car that doesn't really go anywhere or mean anything.
Yeah, I remember
But
how uneasy I felt
yeah,
during the
it's
whole scene.
it's kind of like in Hereditary when Charlie's head gets severed from her body. Like the tone of the movie just totally changes.
Hmm.
It's I mean, not to that extent, but you do feel the tone change, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so we cut back to the house, and Lorraine like turns over, and she realizes that RJ isn't there. She goes looking for him, and Wayne wakes up in his tidy whities and will not get dressed. And Lorraine has this. She says something to Wayne. Lorraine says something to Wayne where she's like, I hope RJ's okay. I didn't want to break up." And Wayne is like, he just needs to toughen up a little bit and let his girlfriend be a porn star.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, that's good advice.
I mean, some people can handle that, but
Yeah.
I guess Wayne can handle it pretty well. But I don't know. But yeah, Wayne agrees to go search with Lorraine in his underwear, and he's like searching in the barn, and there's conveniently an board with a nail sticking up, and he steps on it.
I
And
hate it.
yeah, yeah, another one of my
Biggest fears.
I just have very like unnatural biggest fears because like
Very specific fears too.
yeah, very rarely am I actually going to step on a nail or encounter an alligator. But
It could happen.
now now this scene doesn't really make sense to me. It's very strange because Wayne steps on the nail and he's like yelling at the cows and everything, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna get tetanus from this. And it's like, first off, you should have just put shoes on and got dressed. Now you're
Yeah.
in your tidy whities in the barn with a nail in your foot. Um. Anyway, there's these like three holes in the wall of the barn,
Mm-hmm.
and I I don't know why, but Wayne just like feels the need to look through them.
I think he heard something
Oh, okay.
on the
So I
other
was
side.
so I was like, it's just an old barn, so there's gonna be like cracks in it and stuff. So like, why are you like into these three holes? Pause. But um, yeah. So he's looking through these holes, and then Pearl shoves a pitchfork through it, and it goes into his eyes, and he's presumably dead. There's this
Uh,
there's this funny scene where she kind of comes back into the barn and like just covers him up with hay.
for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it just looks funny. Meanwhile, Lorraine has found Howard kind of wandering around looking for his wife, and she's like, "Well, my boyfriend went missing too." So they kind of agree to look together, and he goes upstairs to find a light, and then he tells her like, there's another flashlight in the basement. Go find it." And it's like, why would I
Terrible.
do that? Why would I do that in this like rundown house? Like, why would I trust you to go into your basement? Um, yeah. So it cuts to her in the basement finding the light, and then she like goes to go upstairs, and we find out that the door is locked. So he locked her in the basement,
Yeah,
and
we all knew that was gonna happen.
yeah. And she's like looking around the basement, and she finds this dead body hanging from the ceiling, and it has a bloody crotch for some reason. So I don't know. We can only assume what happened to that.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to the other house, and Jackson Hole wakes up, and he decides to go drink some milk, but naked. And then Howard shows up to the house again, and is like my wife is missing. Can you help me find her? And Jackson says something like, He's like, I'll help you find her, and then he holds up like his necklace to say that he was in the military, and he says, "Not for self, for country, right?" And you see the silhouette of Jackson Hole standing,
Oh God.
standing in the doorway, and you just see his big schlong just hanging, and it's like, it's amazing. It's just hilarious. Um, yeah. So
Over the top.
yeah, it's just like, why? but but yeah. So it like Jackson goes to look with Howard for Pearl. Um, Meanwhile, we get a first person POV of Pearl wandering through the house, and she crawls in bed with Maxine. Which, once again, I'm curious as to how they filmed these scenes with both Pearl and Maxine. I'd like to see some behind the scenes of this because I think that'd be
Yeah.
cool.
The stunt double.
So Jackson and Howard are going looking by the lake, and Jackson finds a submerged car, which this is what I was talking about. It's a nod to Psycho when they find that car in that lake by the Bates Motel. And he ends up. I guess Jackson and Howard decide to go their separate ways because he's like, we'll cover more ground. And then
Always a terrible idea.
Doesn't make sense because Jackson says, if she's here, I'll find her. Meaning Howard has no chance of finding her.
Mm-hmm.
And then they still go their separate ways. And it's like, if you have no confidence in him finding her, why would you split up?
So dumb.
But he ends up finding Howard's flashlight, and they kind of like, I guess they kind of tease it that he might have got eaten by an alligator or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's also to this point, it's unclear whether Howard is aware that Pearl is up to these shenanigans until he comes back and finds Jackson, and he's like angry at him, and he's like, you guys have been walking around with no clothes, enticing my wife," and he just shoots him in the chest.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Like, just from 0 to 100 real quick.
yeah, because it's like he was asking for his help, and then he just took him out and was like, "You've been wandering around with no clothes, enticing my wife," and you just blow another hole in Jackson Hole. Yeah, so Maxine rolls over, and she ends up finding Pearl in her bed, and Pearl was like trying to cuddle with her. Maxine is not having it, and she screams and wakes Bobby Lynn up. And then when Bobby Lynn runs into the hallway, we just see Pearl like leaving, just casually leaving the house.
Yeah.
Here's another nod, by the way. It cuts back to the house, and we see Lorraine trying to get out of the basement, and she's like breaking the door, and it's very similar to Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
But Howard ends up coming back into the house, and he like breaks her hand, which is actually very brutal. So
Yeah, it is. Ugh.
I think he uses it. I think he uses the gun to break her hand. I think that's what happens. Yeah. So Bobby Lynn and Maxine are still not together for some reason, and they split up, even though Bobby Lynn knows exactly what just happened. Pearl is standing on the dock, and Bobby Lynn kind of thinks that she's just a confused old lady, and maybe she has dementia or something.
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "We need to get you back to the house." And Pearl just slaps her across the face, and she's like, "Why'd you do that?" And Pearl is like, "You don't deserve to just flaunt it in my face like that." she's she goes on about how um Bobby Lynn doesn't deserve like her youth and her good looks and everything,
Yeah.
and she says it's not my fault that you didn't um like do all the things you wanted when you were young or whatever. And she calls her a whore, and then Pearl pushes her into the water, and an alligator gets her, and then
The worst.
it is kind of a little bit too over the top for this movie, I think. But I mean, it still is pretty cool nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Pearl and Howard end up going back to the guest house, and Maxine is like cleaning herself off from Pearl's caressing, and she realizes they're coming in, so she like hides under the bed, and they're talking about how um I'm sorry, Pearl is trying to convince Howard that he can handle this and everything, and they proceed to have the most uncomfortable sex scene ever put to film.
Yeah, of all time.
And that's yeah. Very uncomfortable. Maxine is under the bed, and then um kind of just crawls out and escapes.
Mm-hmm.
And she runs to the van, and she sees a knife in the tire and finds RJ's dead body. I mean, this is kind of the climax of the movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she runs into the house, and this pastor is still playing. This pastor is still playing on the TV, and I think she ends up getting Lorraine out of the basement, and Lorraine ends up like flipping out and blaming these people for all the bad things that happened.
Which I don't really see why she did that.
I think it was just like a panic thing.
Mhm.
I don't know, because yeah, she definitely blames them for all this, for being locked in the basement, even though it obviously wasn't her
Yeah.
fault. And she's like, well, Maxine has this line where she says, "We need to stick together and get out of here." And then Lorraine says, I hate you," and then runs away, and just immediately gets shot as she's leaving the house. So, I didn't see Studio 666. But I'm actually surprised they killed her in this movie because she survived in Scream,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed like she would be the final girl because she's kind of like the goody goody of the movie too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, she's like some type of ghost in that movie. So she's dead already.
okay. And she survived a school shooting in the fallout, so
Mm.
she's yeah, she's apparently she's bad luck. Everywhere she goes just attracts bad things.
Yeah, she had bad luck in that TV show You too.
Mm.
She
Yeah.
survived, but still.
So so we overhear Howard and Pearl talking, and Howard's going on about how he's gonna drag uh Lorraine's body in the house and frame it as self-defense. Now,
Yeah.
that might work if there were only one murder on this house or on this property,
Mm-hmm.
but like you have a dead body in the basement that is like obviously hung up from the ceiling, Um,
I think they had planned on getting rid of it, but
like Jackson Hole is
no.
dead in the woods. Got a dead body in the driveway. Like it just
The
looks like
body in the lake.
maybe they were gonna film it, or maybe they were gonna frame it as like I don't know, maybe multiple people tried to terrorize the land and he killed them all or something.
Yes.
I don't know. It's Texas, so he'd probably get away with it too. But,
The vendetta against Texas.
um, yeah. So as he's dragging Lorraine's body into the house, her body like jerks, and it causes Howard to have a heart attack. And
Which I thought was kind of comedic too.
yeah, but Pearl is like kind
He
of
did not have a heart attack from the scene, but he had a heart attack from that.
maybe it was a combination of all the events tonight.
Yeah, because he's had a long night.
Yeah, I guess I don't know, probably. But it's funny because Pearl is like trying to reason with Maxine and is like, he's having a heart attack, and
But
Maxine
so
and Maxine is like, where are the keys? And meanwhile, this pastor is blabbing on TV. Um, Maxine gets the keys to the truck and like holds her, uh, holds Pearl up to gunpoint, and she says, "I will not accept a life I do not deserve." And she goes to shoot her, but the gun is empty. And then Pearl is like, "Oh, it's my time to shine." It's a shotgun and goes to shoot Maxine and totally misses. And
yeah, the shotgun force was too much for her to handle.
yeah, the kickback makes her fly out of the house, and yeah, it's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's she's like, she asks for help. She's like, my hip. And like, why would Maxine even care at this point?
Yeah.
And yeah, Pearl is like screaming at Maxine while she's getting in the truck, and then Maxine backs up the truck and runs over her head, crushes it, and then she just drives away and leaves. And
Survives.
yeah, that's pretty much the ending. It cuts back to the next morning where we see the cops looking, and there's that scene that we talked about earlier where the pastor is talking like, "This is my daughter Maxine, and she was corrupted into a life of sin."
Yeah.
And yeah, and the police are trying to kind of piece things together and figure out what the heck went on here. And it's funny because one of the cops comes back and is like, "I found this camera." And they're like, "Well, what do you think is on it?" And he says, "Well, by the looks of it, I'll say one fucked up horror picture." Then the movie just ends. And it's like, just imagine you see this big crime scene with all these dead bodies, and then you find out that they were filming a porno here.
Yeah. That's literally all that's on there.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And one of the girls is missing.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is it a porno, but it's like this weird porno called The Farmer's Daughters. That's what you find. But yeah. And then there's a post-credit scene where they tease the prequel called Pearl, where Mia Goth is playing a younger version of the old lady in this movie. And
Which I'm interested.
yeah, I guess they filmed it. I guess Ty West wrote the movie during quarantine because he had this movie written and everything, and then they were under quarantine, and then he was like, well, you know what? Let me just write this prequel real quick.
Yeah.
And then I guess Mia Goth stayed on set for an extra 2 weeks to film Pearl.
Mm.
And so I'm pretty interested in that. Um, I was very confused when I figured out that she was playing a younger Pearl too.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't realize that, um, that she played both characters. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about seeing her play a younger Pearl, but
But we'll see.
I'm curious as to when the release date is. I think I saw something like next year or something, which I'd be fine with.
Mm.
But yeah, be cool if they did like a bunch of like prequels leading up to this. But yeah, yeah, that was X, directed by the great Ty West. Do you have anything else about this movie?
It's that it is very fun.
Yeah.
Very fun horror movie.
Yeah, when I was rewatching this the other day, I was like, this movie just puts me in a good mood. I don't know why.
Mhm.
It's just it's just like hilarious. Um,
It's definitely rewatchable.
it's not like A24's other horror films where they're like dreadful and depressing.
Hmm.
This one's um actually fun. So
Granted, those ones are also rewatchable.
yeah, but I don't think they're as rewatch. Like if you're in a depressed mood, I'm not going to turn on Hereditary
I might. Just
just to finish the job and make yourself more depressed.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's all I have for this.
Hmm.
Um, I'd actually like to do a commentary on this one day because I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Um, which we were actually talking about doing commentaries. We haven't like officially confirmed that yet, but
Just gotta figure out how to do it without background noise affecting.
yeah, because I think Metropolis would be a fun one because like us trying to figure out a 2.5 hour silent film. Probably just get irritated an hour in and just quit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a work in progress that we want to start doing commentaries. Maybe like once a month or once every 2 months or something. We could do one.
Hmm.
But yeah, we'll figure something out. Do you have any recommendations for this week?
Crap, I don't know if I saw anything this week besides Morbius.
It's time to recommend some things you and me were recommending.
Yeah, I won't recommend Morbius. I know that.
Yeah, that's something we do not recommend.
Um, have you seen anything recently, or
I think I already recommended everything I saw recently.
have you played any video games or anything?
No. WWE and Fortnite.
All right, so
Oh,
Steven does not.
I'll recommend Marry Me.
Oh, there you go. What is that about?
It's starring Jennifer Lopez and what the heck's the guy? Owen Wilson.
Hmm.
It's about this woman who is marrying another pop singer, but we find out that he cheated on her. So she, spur of the moment, decides to marry this guy that's holding a "Marry Me" sign in the audience. And they end up falling in love over the course of the movie.
Okay. And Craig just left the recording, so
It's like 2022 is A Star is Born.
just not as good. Is it still on Peacock?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch it sometime.
Jennifer Lopez is so good in everything.
Yeah, she was good in Hustlers. I thought that was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to recommend. I'll stay on the horror side, kind of. This movie called Possession. It was made in 1981, and it seemed like it had a big effect on like Hereditary and movies like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is very hard to find. I don't think it's streaming anywhere, but you can buy the DVD on eBay for like $5. It's about this woman who she leaves her family for reasons unknown, and the movie kind of like delves into why she left her husband and her child, and it has like weird creatures and like demonic things going on, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to do it on an episode of this, so I don't want to get too much into it, but it's very great. It's one of those movies that I don't know what to think of after a first viewing because it's just
Yeah.
bizarre. But yeah, it's called Possession from 1981. I guess the easiest way to watch it is to buy a Blu-ray or DVD on eBay, because for some reason it's not streaming anywhere. So
Interesting.
yeah, it is. It is very good. Check it out. So what we are doing for the next episode is we are doing the Tempted Topics wheel, and what we're doing is we're going to spin a wheel, and we're going to put some movies on it, and it's going to pick the next episode for us.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any movies that you wanted to add to this?
The Silver Shamrock wheel. I don't know why I just thought of that. I know I chose that Easter Bunny movie for some reason.
Do you really want to do that? Easter Bunny Massacre?
I don't know why I chose that, but sure, might as well. If S. Darko's on the list, might as well throw that on there too.
It's true. So I got 7 movies so far. I have S. Darko, keep up with the Easter theme. Easter Bunny Massacre. It Follows. The Faculty. The Witch. The Lighthouse. And Richard Kelly's last film, The Box.
Death on the Nile.
You want me to add that? Do you want me to?
How long is Death on the Nile?
I think it's over 2 hours.
Maybe we'll add that next time.
Okay. Yeah, all these movies I think are under 2 hours.
Okay.
Under the Nile is 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Yeah, maybe we'll keep it under 2 hours again.
You have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. I'll probably think of something after the fact.
Probably. Okay, here we go. I'm going to spin it. I count it down.
5, 4, 3, 2, spin.
Right.
Oh, crap.
Here we go. It is. The music explain. Witch.
The suspense.
The Witch.
All right. I can live with that. That's one of my favorite A24 movies.
We were one spot away from S. Darko.
And there is a rabbit in The Witch, too.
Oh, there you go. He dodged the bullet.
A couple bullets, actually. I feel like The Witch takes place either at the beginning of spring or the end of summer, like because it's cold.
It's cold but not snowy.
Yeah, it's either early fall or early spring, so it fits.
You know, I'm just glad it's a quick 90-minute movie.
Yeah, and I've seen it enough times to know it.
So, yeah, we're doing The Witch, or if you want to get fancy, you can call it the Vavitch, I guess. We'll be real fancy next week. So the reason why I put The Witch and the Lighthouse on there are because the Northman comes out in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, and I'm still looking for a way to make the Northman a sequel to The Witch, so we'll see.
And Robert Eggers is one of my favorite directors working today, even though I am worried about the Northman because Robert
Uh-huh.
Eggers has said that there was a lot of studio interference with this movie.
Yeah, and this is the type of movie you can't do that to.
Yeah, it seems very much like a passion project. 'Cause who else would go out of their way and make a movie about Vikings willingly?
Yeah.
Unless you were very passionate about that or the story.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But you know, I'm gonna keep my hopes up. They did release this terrible poster of William Defoe. I'm trying to find it real quick. Can't find it right now, but he's bald on the poster and it's like terribly photoshopped and it's hilarious. It's
Oh
like
no.
a poster they released in a different country. I'll send it to you later when I find it. But
Okay.
yeah, so next week we're doing The Witch. Also Dakota Kai and Raquel just won the tag team championship, so that's cool.
Oh,
You're not happy about that?
I like Toxic Attraction.
Yeah, so anyway,
I wanted them to lose and go to the main roster and win the main tag team titles on their first night. But
yeah,
maybe that'll happen in Toxic Attraction instead.
maybe.
It won't.
So anyway, you can follow us on Instagram at Santamira After Dark. We are on Twitter at Santamira AD Pod. Through there, you can find our personal social media accounts and also on Letterboxd as well and all social media. So
All that jazz.
do you have anything else?
And curfew is now in session.